You know, usually you would never think in a game about the terms of service. Because, one, they're written in a way for you not to understand. Like, it does use terminology that they know you as a fucking layman will not understand. Like arbitration, right? You know who what the fuck arbitration is? I mean, I do because I literally Googled it like 2 hours ago. But no one knows what the fuck arbitration is. Effectively, it's a third party, arbitrator, for lack of a better, it's literally the word. But okay, who appoints the arbitrator? Well, obviously the company you're going against, because you can't. You don't have someone with that level of power phoned up. But obviously, say Disney, they absolutely do. So a friend told me to just sit and read the terms of service. And I'm looking at all this like, brother, you got me fucked up if you think I'm reading all this. You got me. So I did what I said what I'd do, and I read the first couple of paragraphs. And a lot of things do not add up to me. Like, okay, let's go down to okay. One of them is obviously they gotta say, oh well, if you're under the age of 14, you need to have a valid adult. Blah 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 blah, covering their ass, right? But it says, okay, subject to your agreement and compliance with these terms, the company and as applicable its licensors grants to you a limited, non-exclusive, revocable, non-transferable, non-licensable rights to download. So let me get this straight. I paid you money for this game, right? Paid you money for a product, but you can revoke it at any time. Again, what I see in this, right, is okay, they're treating a game, right? And again, here, the license shall automatically, if you fail to comply with these terms in such event, you must uninstall copies of the game and the game software. You may also terminate the license at any time by installing the game, blah, 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 right? But they're treating this game as if it's a service, right? Because they can't market it as a service. So you have pretty much have effectively service terms of service, for lack of a better word. Like here, it's like, uh, no, where does the shit start? It's just a lot of fucking commas, and I'm fucking blind. Non-exclusive, revocable, non-transferable, non-sublicensable rights to create live or record gameplay videos that leverages assets from the game, such as images, videos, sound effects, recording, and in-game music. So this is against like streaming the game or like having YouTube videos of the game. And distributed such gameplay videos on websites to prevent others to view such gameplay videos without any charge of any kind. So if you're monetized on YouTube or Twitch or I guess TikTok or whatever, like you can't make money off of this. For the avoidance of doubt, you may not license or sublicense gameplay videos to anyone for a fee or any other commercial use without first receiving our written authorization to do so. So if you do not have the right to stream the game that you bought this fucking game with your money, but they still, I guess, own the again, a game that's, I mean, it has a multiplayer component, but it's a single player game. I mean, it has a single player component as well. If a game has a single player component, I'm assuming it's a single player game with multiplayer, accessibility. But they're saying, okay, we can revoke that at any point, and you may not include any gameplay videos nor anywhere linked near or on the same website as the video. Any content that is prohibited by us in these terms. In any gameplay video, please do not state or imply that the game video is endorsed or sponsored by the company or Unknown World Entertainment. Unless you enter into an endorsement or sponsorship agreement with us, we may terminate the license granted to you to create, distribute, or otherwise make available gameplay video in our sole discretion without notice or liability to you. Do you even want people to stream your game? Like, I read this. Like, this is what I care about. Obviously, there's this this shit up here. Again, the arbitration. Like, I love how this is in bold, as if they know you're going to be like, okay, wait a minute, none of this shit makes any sense. But then they're like, oh, wait a minute. If you have a problem with that, we can appoint an arbitrator that's obviously going to err on our side because we're the company. And they dump you with the bullshit. So, this is what I've gotten from it. They're treating a game that you've bought as if it is a service, as if you don't actually own it. You've paid for the privilege to play the game. You don't actually own the game. And not only that, they don't want you to even stream the game unless you beg them, like knees on your knees, to have a written consent that they can still revoke at any time. So let's go to ChatGPT, right? Because I also told this friend I'm gonna see, or okay, let's go to Grok. And I can go to either or, but I already have Grok up. And let's say, oops. Grok's unable to reply. Something's wrong. Fresh reconnect. Oh God, you're fucking me, Grok. Grok, why are you doing this? Grok, please, no. Grok. Okay, now I think we're good. And let's say, if I click enter, but I want to say, how anti-consumer is this agreement? Boom. It's not telling me. Look, fine, I'll go to ChatGPT. Fuck. I'm over here trying to prove a point. Like, but Grok wants to be anal about it. So okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to deprive a small African village of water just to get this fucking point across, right? And you can't stop me, right? I can't be stopped. I have the fucking free version too. Wink, wink. Free version. Wink. So, Alright, now the African children are going to be without water. I'm going to find this answer. I thought I clicked streaming. How anti-consumer is this agreement? If I enter my consumer, how much power does this agreement give the company versus player? Then this is a fairly company favorable game ELO-TOS. It is an unusually extreme compared. It isn't unusually extreme compared to many modern online games, but it contains several provisions that consumer advocates often criticize. High concern. They can terminate access at any time. Yeah, and again, services, any game or service that says this, and this is what people are like, okay, so most services absolutely give you a date. Like say, okay, if you pay for Spectrum, like you can pay like for like it's 3 years, 6 year until the end of the year, and it tells you, okay, if you don't renew, that's when it ends. But games, for some reason, don't do this. Like they're like, okay, for any reason, at any time, for any reason, or no reason at all, without prior notice. This gives company very broad discretion to revoke access, whether that would actually be enforceable in every jurisdiction is a separate question, but the contract language is extremely broad. Highly concerned, very limited liability. Section 8 caps the company's liability at $50 or the amount you pay for the game, whichever is greater. This means that even if a player suffered damage substantially exceeding the purchase price, the contract attempts to limit recovery to a very small amount. This is standard in software agreements, but is generally considered pro company. Yeah, and again, this is what people have a problem with, right? Section 1114, mandatory arbitration and class action waivers. 11 and 14 requires individual arbitration, no jury trial, no class action, no collective arbitration. Yeah. So the individual arbitration, which is going to be appointed by the company, no jury, so no court, no class action, so the consumers can't, come together and go against it. No collective arbitration, so the consumers can't come together to bring in, I don't fucking know, legal mindset or whatever the fuck his name is, and to be like, look, this is fucked, and I'm going to represent. It's appointed by the company, or like, I think collective arbitration. So like, or maybe it's like a group of people. Only one person that's by the company. These clauses are among the most controversial provision in consumer contracts because they make large-scale consumer large lawsuits much harder. Oh yeah, again, Disney had this when they, killed someone's wife, and they're like, oh, well, because you signed the terms of service on your Disney Plus, you can't take us to fucking jury for killing someone. I think they had like an allergic reaction. High concern, broad ownership claims over submitted content. Section 6 says anything submitted to the company becomes company property or where ownership transfer isn't possible. Grants them perpetual rights, worldwide rights, sub-licensable rights, commercial rights, rights to create derivatives. So anything you make, they own. Like any content that includes what they make, you own. It's very broad, though common for game feedback, bug reports, forum posts, contest submissions, and similar content. Yeah, and again, these are situations where it makes sense. But they say you have to effectively beg to be able to stream this shit, and if you don't, high concern, AI training, prohibition, training, development, or enhancing any artificial intelligence or machine learning model without written permission. This becomes increasingly common, but is stricter than older game licenses. Yeah, I mean, because older games, they didn't know how good AI would be. They didn't even know it would be a thing. So yeah, that makes sense. I'm concerned they can change the game whenever they want. Yeah, like updates and all that, patches. But modify remotely. So as you're playing, discontinue features. Yeah, discontinue the entire game. Similarly allows restriction of access for a live service title. This is normal for people expecting a purchased game to remain unchanged indefinitely. It's less consumer friendly. Again, live services, this makes sense. But they're treating a game you've paid for as a live service. No ownership of digital items. Again, this is like Section 5. So items, skins, accounts, other games access. You merely have a license to use them. This is standard across virtually the entire gaming industry. Yeah, but it's a problem because, again, okay, you don't own the game. Of course, you're not going to own any of these, right? It is the standard language, yes, and that's the problem. Got items, trading bans, selling accounts, selling items, advertising account sales. I mean, look, games like this, like survival like games, or games like Warframe, this is just going to happen. Like, I'm not going to argue if it's good or bad. It's just a force of nature. I think it's cringe to buy existing accounts. Like you want to play a game, but you don't want to play the game. You want to buy someone else's account. It's like if you ever told me you bought an account of like Warframe, just have all the items. I just think it's cringe. I'm like, what? So you don't actually want to experience the game because the grind is part of the game. Now, if you don't like the grind, that's fine, but you're effectively not even playing the game. Again, very common on games, but unfavorable to players who view their digital assets as property. Yeah, and again, that's why I just find it cringe. I don't think it shouldn't exist because again, you should own your game and be able to sell your profile however way you want. Sexually attempts to claim ownership or of lawful modifications and derivative works and says moral rights are wavered. This is company. I'm not surprised. Again, this is probably buried deep within that you're probably not going to get to. That's aggressive drafting depending on country. Part of this may not be enforceable because some jurisdictions do not allow waivers of certain moral rights. Yeah, like, underage content and like sexual underage content. It's like if you have that in the game, obviously they're going to put the hammer on you. And like and this is what I'm talking about. So surprisingly consumer friendly points. There are a few provisions that are less harsh than some agreements. Game videos are explicitly allowed. The agreement specifically grants permissions to Twitch, YouTube, TikTok without needing separate permission. Many other games were less explicit, but it says, and this probably didn't, that you have to ask for permission to stream on these. Refunds defer to platform policy. The agreement doesn't completely ban refunds. It recognizes legal refunds rights. Yeah, because if you're selling on Steam, like this is Steam being like, no, if you sell on our platform, they can only, like, if they haven't played for 2 hours and they want a refund, they can do that. We don't care what you have to say. Some language acknowledges local consumer laws. Several sections include phrases like to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, and some jurisdictions do not allow. This means local consumer protection laws may override portions of the agreement. Yeah, I mean, overall assessment compared to with modern AAA game EULAs, not unusually hostile, 6 out of 10. Typically 2026 live service publisher agreement. 7 out of 10. But see, that's the thing. That's not what this is. Extremely anti-consumer? No. Yeah, I mean, do they actually enforce this as heavily as they say? Probably not. But again, the terms of service just sounds like you don't actually own anything. And it does favor the company. It treats you like you're the bad guy, which is like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm playing a game. I'm not signing a loan. We're not making a business agreement. I'm giving you money and you're giving me game. Or I guess you're giving me the privilege of playing the game. Most consumer influencing parts are mandatory arbitration clauses, class action waiver termination as anytime language, very low liability cap, the broader rights over user submitted content. Most of the remaining provision, no ownership of digital items. Nice. Again, these are standard, which is the problem. But the AI is just doesn't really. It's not a human. It doesn't understand that we've completely lost this war. People are now fine with this. So, again, my thing is, okay, the AI is thinking this is a service, but it's not. Like, it's a game. They're selling the game as if it's a service, and that's why I have a problem. Like, the language used doesn't make any sense to me, and it's like it attempts to define, user, you, or player means person who's, it's like it's trying to define all these goofy little things. It's like laws, territory, jazz documents, service. We must have valid consent from your parents or legal. Again, this is just some goofy, weird shit. Like, I read this, I'm like, what? So, I have to be like, Mom, Dad, they want your consent for me to play this fucking game. It's like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. Would be stupid. Like, you think I'm some sort of retarded? It's just fucking weird. And obviously, any game's like, oh, if you disagree with the terms of service, well, I guess the product you paid for is defunct now. Which, again, on Steam, you can just refund it. On Steam, you're like, okay, give me my money back. I disagree with this. Give me my money back. But it's like, do you want people to actually play and enjoy the game? Or do you just want them to pay for the right to play a game? Like, did Subnautica 1 have these terms of service in EULA? I doubt it. This is like, this shit changes. I wouldn't be surprised if, ChatGPT, the license confers to you no title or ownership in game, including any in-game. Yeah, you don't own the game, blah, 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 blah. You don't own any of this. You're just playing for the rights to use it. User submitted content, committal rights, and irrevocable, transferable, sub-licensable. Like, it's just goofy terminology that effectively just says you don't own the game. So, yeah. This is just weird. It's a weird tactic to actually straight up say. And they act like, okay, this is the perfect use for ChatGPT or Grok. Well, I guess for some reason on this computer, Grok is condemned because X is condemned. I can't actually search anything on X. I guess it treats this computer like it's a bot because I have VPN on half the time. But this is the perfect use for the AI. A perfect use to drain the Native American reservoir of water just to use the AI. And again, it's not perfect, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, it's not surprising, but it's still gay. It's like, okay, you have a good game, but you're really going to just be gay like this? Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? But that's all I gotta say about this. Peace out.